39.
Number 1.
39.
1.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33.
32.
31.
30.
29.
28. 27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
22.
21.
20.
19.
18. 17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10. 9. 8.
7. 6. 5.
4.
3.
2.
1. It's time for mouthwash. Giddy up. Hi, and welcome to Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on politics and the fastest growing show on the internet. We have a special show for you tonight about Prepper. And when I was doing the preview for this, I kept thinking I was going to put Pepper on there instead of Prepper. So I was double checking that, and I may have done it somewhere. But this is going to be interesting. So we got some cool stuff tonight. I was actually able to get Guy Relford Saturday. I went out to WIBC did a live show out at a gun store here in Indianapolis. And I went out there and Guy Relford was there and I talked him into doing Peeps on the Street. So we'll have that up for you later. And I don't know if y'all have heard about this shooting we've had here close to our homes at the Greenwood Park Mall, but actually Guy is representing the Good Samaritan. Maybe that's a term that some people don't appreciate. Stop this shooter. He's actually the attorney that's representing him. So that's going to be interesting. He's not going to be on the show, but he is doing the Peeps on the Streets. And I ask a couple interesting questions for that. But hey, we have an actual person who's walking the talk tonight as our guest. She's actually living on a boat. And I got to say, thanks to Lucy Brenton for getting a guest on this, because this is sort of her brainchild on for the prepping thing. And, you never know. Without any more talking, and we do have small talk tonight, and I will have to warn you that Mark, he gets a little animated tonight. But I do want to thank Mark, because you know what? He's a true professional. Every week he has his stuff together. He has it sent to me and he puts it out there. And you know what? He's always got a different viewpoint. And that's what our show's all about, is we listen to everybody's viewpoint. We respect it. And I just want to say thank you for the work that he does, because nobody gets paid on this show. It's all, we just love to talk about things. So I'm going to go ahead and start bringing the panel on here. I do see Ed backstage. That's good, because this is going to be an experiment for him. So he's filling in for somebody out at work. And he said, I'm going to be in the parking lot. So it's only about 90 degrees here, so Ed will probably be sweating a little more than usual. So, but hey, let's go. I'm going to go ahead and bring Lucy on first, because, hey, this is sort of her show. So, Lucy, how you doing?
I am doing great. As you can see, my dynamic presence has caused nuclear war. So we have reached World War III at this point.
It looks like a halo, sort of.
Yeah, like a demonic halo. Thanks, John, for pointing that out.
Hey, wait till you hear Mark Small's atheist view on the end of times on the Book of Revelations. Ooh, you're going to talk about that.
Can't wait.
Well, let's see how Tiffany's doing there. Let's see if she's got all her. Usually Tiffany's about the last minute putting her makeup on and on here, but look, there she is. So look, you got it all. You look pretty as usual. You got it all together. And I don't want to say anything, but I got a little spot up here. I know you'll probably make too much sugar or something, make a little fun of me tonight, but that's okay. I'm used to it. So now let's see what Ed's up to. Let's see, Ed. Oh, look, there he is. Can we hear you?
Hello.
Hey,
I hope so.
wow. Technology is our friend this evening. So, Ed, how you doing? Is it like 90 degrees up there in your car?
I have air conditioning. I am good.
And you got a really nice studio set up out there. So, but all right. Well, hey, is everybody excited about a show about prepping tonight? I mean, I know my stuff's coming in out of the garden. I mean, I'm thinking
Prep.
I will not live if I have to rely on my garden. I will make it about till lunch tomorrow, maybe. So hopefully we'll get some good tips from our guests. So I'm a little excited about hearing from this. And we got the peeps on the streets. We got Mark Small. It's just going to be a great show. So let's get to our guest here. Let's get the thing. Let's figure out how this goes here. We'll bring her on. And no, Tiffany, you're the see how you're like
I am in charge of nothing. I'm in charge of nothing.
Well, I'm barely in charge of anything. So it's always a loose string here, just winging this thing. So Amanda Mary, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. It's nice and warm up here or down here in Florida.
well, wait a second. I just want to say, don't you have a boat? You could like row up to Canada.
We could. I don't know if they let me in. I'm not back for I don't have the cookie.
Don't say that because we'll be banned off of YouTube again.
Right. So, I don't eat cookies either.
Yeah, it's like that's a different subject, but
yeah,
we can do that. So, Amanda, tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into some questions about prepping.
So I've been an herbalist for 10 years. I practice our Native American herbs. And before I lived on a sailboat, I actually had a homestead. And then we decided we really want to travel the world and see more of the world. And prepping is just built into the lifestyle of living on a sailboat because you do have to go 2 weeks without civilization. You have to be prepared for hurricanes and anything else that might pop up.
Wow. Yeah, now do you get seasick? I'm probably going to ask more questions in the panel, so I'm going to have to refrain.
I only get seasick if it's really, really rough out there. Otherwise, it doesn't bother me at all. My husband was in the Navy, and he actually does get seasick, but he has these special wristbands that prevent him from getting sick.
All right. Well, Ed was were you in a submarine, Ed? Is that or just
Ed was in the Village People Navy.
Yeah.
Come on, Tiffany.
I
was a sonar technician, so I was in charge of hunting submarines. So
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's like and not sandwiches, right, Ed? Not submarine sandwiches.
No.
Well, quit picking on Ed, everybody. Quit it.
And if you ever saw me dance, you would know that I had no chance in the Village People. So, you guys, this is going to be one of those shows. I can already tell. So, what you're on a sailboat, and so what's the farthest place you've ever sailed? I mean, as far as
so far all we've done is island hopping, and that's because we bought an old boat, and so she needs a lot of upgrades. And so we're still working on installing a water maker so that it'll turn seawater into drinkable water, and expanding our battery banks, and installing some solar panels. So we already have a generator. So she needs some upgrades, but we can do short distances right now.
So and you don't have a house. You're like, this is your house. This is there's no backup plan. You got some relatives you could go see if this doesn't work out, or
I have to go pretty far north.
Okay, well, I would say it's cooler up here, but it's not. So no, Ed, since you're since you guys speak the same language here, let's start with you tonight on some questioning about prepping and sailing and whatever else.
So, just a little background. Also being a Navy guy, my dream is once my kids hit the ripe old age for me to kick them out, of getting on that sailboat and traveling the world and never looking back again. And so I got to commend you. But I also know from, my Navy days is once you leave home port, unless you're the prepping thing goes right along with sailing, because Once you leave home, if you do not have it, you're not going to get it. And especially once you go over into foreign areas, you'd be amazed at how much stuff that we take for granted here in the States that just isn't available in other areas. And so have you guys, I guess my question to you would be, did you guys start off by, working with other people on other boats, or have you jumped on other people, or how did you get started in this? How did you go down this?
So my grandpa had a Faro cement boat when I was growing up. So I grew up sailing. So I already understood the lifestyle.
Hold on. What is that? What is that thing you just said?
Oh, Faro cement. That's like a homemade cement boat. It was huge. Like a
okay, hold on.
Yeah.
A boat made out of cement.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I just wanted to clear that up for me, pretty much. The viewers probably already knew that, but I'm not that smart.
For the people in the cheap seats.
Hey, John, for you and for people in construction, especially here in Indiana, since it was popular at one time, it's more of like when they say cement boat, it's like a lath and plaster type construction.
Oh, okay.
So it's got chicken wire, and then they put the cement on, and I got plenty.
I'd need chicken wire because I'd need chicken to get in it. So I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. And then my husband was in the Navy for 4 years, so we both already knew we loved boats. And we have 2 teenage boys, and so this is very new for them. But they've been doing really well with it.
So like the first mate and second mate, do they fight over who's first mate?
Who gets to be Gilligan?
I was voted. I know this is going to surprise all of you. I was voted most likely to be Gilligan in my high school yearbook. So there I have sailing experience as well. And that's probably why I landed on an island nobody could find me in. So, all right, I'm saving Lucy for last. Tiffany, what question might you have? Because I know you're sort of a prepper, right?
I'm a prepper. I have pretty much more shades of lipstick and lip gloss than you could ever imagine. So I just think it's important to plan for life without moisture and dry lips. So I am very much prepared for that. But no, to be honest, I truly respect what you're doing. And I was thinking about it. I may not be a big prepper, but I do have tons of canned goods in my pantry. So I do recognize that as much as I enjoy eating out, that it's important to have a well-stocked pantry. And I do back up to a pond on a golf course. And I guess if worst came to worst, I'd drink some of that. It's good enough for the turtles and the fish. But, and I don't want to get too far ahead, but you said that the longest that you guys have been away or can be away is 2 weeks.
Well, that's about how long it takes our boat to cross an ocean. And we know that because our boat's already done it 5 times.
Okay. So I was going to ask, have you gotten into any perilous situations? Have you encountered any serious issues?
Yeah, we've been in a few really scary storms. Some hurricanes have gotten really close. We actually have 2 hurricane escape plans, depending upon the direction that it's coming. But no damage to the boat, so we've been pretty lucky with that.
Oh, that's great.
So and since you're on a boat, how much information, do you watch the weather every day or whatever, or are you just sort of winging it and just
we do have a lot of apps and where we watch the weather, especially we keep track of the Hurricane Center, the National Hurricane Center. And then we also get raw weather charts so that we can look at the information for ourselves and not just rely on the weathermen.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Are you a motorboat or a sailboat? And I apologize for my ignorance.
That's okay. No, we're a sailboat.
Do you even have a little motor? Some of those sailboats have a little motor, so they keep you from crashing when you're going inside. Okay, cool. So how long is your boat?
45 feet.
Wow, that's big. So
yeah.
Okay. We have audience participation today. So Lucy, you're going to have to wait a second because we got Spiro here. He's got a question for you. Amanda, what is the most important thing to have prepped?
Water. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I would think water. We have 150-gallon tanks, and then we still keep extra water in bottles on board, but we would feel better once the water maker is installed.
Yeah. So what's second? Because I think that.
Wait a minute. So if you have 150 gallons, how long will that last? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
For a family of 4.
Some smelly clothes. But you can wash it in the salt water.
In the ocean, I guess.
So what would be What would be the second? What would be the second thing? 'Cause I think
Yeah, it's really important to have your food in order. And it's, you know, we have a freezer that runs off of the batteries. But should that go out, we still have plenty of dry foods to cook. So we have propane and we have charcoal and we have, you know, our electric foodie. So we have multiple options for cooking.
Okay, yeah, we're getting some. We'll get to those questions. We got some other good questions here. We'll get to those, but I know Lucy, you know, you've worked so hard getting our guests and everything, so it's your turn. We took all the easy ones, so we saved the hard one for you.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I think one of the things that Amanda pointed out that is so important is redundancy in your systems.
Yes.
She has backup 4 different ways to cook, you know, multiple ways to drink water. Amanda, I'm really fascinated because I'm a homestead girl. We bought 3 acres. I'm beginning, mostly failing at it. But I made the decision to do it. I mean, even being out here is a win, but I made the decision to go with the land because we have 10 kids and I don't know how big of a boat I'd have to have. So can you walk? I know you're looking at me like, oh my gosh, this woman is
It would
crazy.
have to be like a massive trawler.
Yeah, that's like Jaws. We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah,
we
or
need a
cruise
bigger
ship.
boat. Yeah, and we've looked at like all of those things online where there's like the $5 million boat and the $1 million boat. But I'm really curious about the decision-making process. You know, what was that decision-making process where you went through and you said, homestead, done it, good, boat, better? What made that decision for you?
COVID hit, and thank God I had a garden and chickens and ducks, and I had all of that, and that really saved us because we were in Tennessee at the time, and we went without meat for like 3 months. We couldn't find it anywhere. So it hit us really hard, and so you know, I loved where we were. I loved, you know, my neighbors and my friends. Like we were well established there, but my husband's like, there's no work. I'm really nervous. So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to give up my home that I love, then I'm only going to do it if we can travel the world. So that's the ultimate goal, is to travel the world.
So how long have you been on the boat?
1 year.
Like about a couple years. 1 year. Okay. And no, love it. Just what you expected, or, you know, how is that going as far as
definitely
overall?
There's definitely been changes. So we went from being in like a home that was, you know, 1,600 square feet to, I'm not even sure how many square feet this boat is, but 45 feet long.
Yeah, it's tight. Well, I know what that's like because I remodeled a home here in Mars Hill, and we lived in 400 square feet for 4.5 years. Me and my wife, we had a little 1-burner stove, and pretty much you could be in the bathroom and talk to the person cooking dinner and taking a shower and watching TV at the same time. So, but
so sweet.
You know, it was great when we were doing it, but now neither one of us want to go down the basement anymore. It's like, yeah, that was fun while it lasted, but we're done with it. So, and you have 2 boys, right? Living with you?
I do. Both teenagers. Sorry, hold on. Teddy.
And a dog. So
these are little. Yeah.
Hey, if you think prepping and living out there is really a hard time, well, hey, not really. So hey, listen, we're
Is he a dog or is he dinner?
What's that?
Oh, he's too little to eat.
Wow.
Wow.
That was.
Hey,
wow.
you said you got redundancy in the system.
That was a good one, Tiffany.
Yeah,
Pretty nice.
they're with the YouTube. The PETA got us on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and play. I got some other questions in the queue here that are about protection and this and that. So I'm going to go ahead and play the peeps on the streets. We're going to play that, and we'll come on the other side and have a couple questions from our audience, and we'll enjoy and we'll answer these questions because these are the 3 questions that I asked the peeps, and hey, we'll bring those up too. So here you go. Enjoy Peeps on the Streets. This is John Schmitz for the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. And I'm out here in Brownsburg, Indiana at Premier Arms. And we're going to ask the folks out here what they think about prepping and the end of times. Do you think we're in end times?
Ooh, that's a tough question. It's end times for somebody.
Okay. Hey, are you a prepper, or you have some stuff stored away just in case?
A little bit.
A little bit. Now, do you know?
Guns and ammunition.
Guns and ammunition. How about food?
Yes.
Got some food. Now, do you know any other preppers?
Oh gosh, yes.
Yes, you know. How many would you say?
Oh, 5 for sure.
5 for sure.
But yeah, friends.
All right. Thank you. All right. Do you think we're in end times?
Oh, I don't think we're in end times, but you can see them from here. So I think we're within shouting distance. I think we're in a place where people need to think about their family's security more so than any time I've seen in the last 20 or 30 years.
Now, do you believe in prepping? Do you have some things in order for prepping?
Yeah, I want to have an energy source. I want to be able to form my own electricity. I want to have stored gasoline to run my generator. I want to have some food, and I want to have some water. So I don't know if that's prepping or not, but to me, in my mind, that's being ready for any kind of disaster, whether it's natural or man-made.
Yeah. Now, do you know other preppers? Do you know other people that are prepping?
Yeah, in fact, I got invited to speak for a while at like the Indiana Prepper Society, something like that. And I'll tell you what, these are a whole lot of people that when I went into it, I thought, wow, I don't know if these people are going to be, on the edge or off the edge I decided there were just a whole lot of people who were smarter than me, because these were people that were growing their own food and storing their own food and talking about how to store water and talking about how to trap and store rainwater. And it all just makes sense to be prepared. Here I carry a gun every day because I want to be prepared in the event I need it. These folks are preparing to live their lives in the event that, there's some kind of a disaster, whether natural or man-made.
Yeah, well, you see, Lucy, you're not crazy after all. There's quite a few preppers out there.
I'm telling you, my conclusion was they're just smarter than me.
Thank you very much.
Sure, my pleasure.
All right, do you think we're in end times?
I do not.
You do not. Now, are you a prepper, or do you have some stuff stored away, or do you have anything like that going on?
Do not.
Okay, now do you know people that are doing that?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Now, do you think we're at end times?
Well, in end times in what regard? I mean, are we at end times as far as the republic goes, or are we at end times as far as the world goes?
I would say is like, society crashing.
I would say that we're very close. We've lived in an environment where we've had a fiat currency system via the Federal Reserve, and the value of the dollar has decreased by 97%. We have the Chinese Communist Party moving into other parts of the world, trying to replace their currency with the petrodollar, which is the U.S. dollar. And once that happens, you're going to see a lot of corporations move into more of a centralized communist mindset.
Okay, do you prep at all? Do you have like some stuff saved up or prepped at all?
I do. I have friends that live out in Idaho, and we have a good location that we would move to if things really hit the fan.
So Idaho is a safe haven, is that right?
Idaho is the freest state in the union.
Okay. So do you know any other preppers? It sounds like you might.
Yeah, I do. I know people in Florida and Texas that are always ready. It's one of those things like insurance. It's better to need it and not have it than have it and not or than need it and not have it, I should say.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks a lot.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
All right, I'm out here with the owner of Premier Arms in Brownsburg, and hey, I think you could help this guy out a little bit right now because they have a little bit of a problem up the north here on the road. What's up with that?
Well, they're putting a roundabout in. Brownsburg decided they need another roundabout and decided to shut down Green Street for 2 months on us.
So how is that affecting your business?
Well, about a 40% drop. About a 40% drop in traffic. Luckily, I've got great customers that will still brave the detours and still make it out to us. So we're not down as bad as what we could be. But I tell you, all the businesses along Green Street here really need the patronage.
Yeah, so if you come on out, we got a landscape place next here and some other things. And if you're coming from the north, you're going to have to zigzag around. But come on in from the south. Tell us a little bit about your store.
Sure. Been in business for, 21 years. Moved into this new building behind me here about 4 years ago. We started out a small little business on Main Street and growing into this. We specialize in, we do a lot of new firearms, but a lot of used firearms, everything from pre-Civil War to modern. Class 3, so we deal in the legal full auto and suppressors. A little bit different, we do jewelry as well, estate jewelry, watches, silver, gold, coins. So, and our specialty is we buy. So we're the largest used firearms buyer, jewelry buyer, coin buyer in the Midwest. That's what we build our business around, is buying estates and collections.
All right, yeah, I was asking in there, I'm thinking, why do we have jewelry and guns together? I said, well, if the wife gets a new ring, the guy can get a new gun. Is that
absolutely, a little distraction. Honey, I want a gun. Honey, I want a ring. Everything works out in the end.
It's sort of like musicians, and you never can have enough guitars.
Exactly.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
And that's a wrap for Peeps on the Streets out here in Brownsburg, Indiana. Now let's see what the folks have to say about this topic. So there you go. That's our Peeps on the Streets. So we could talk about the end of times, I guess, now and all that. But I think it's interesting. We had everybody from no to it's happening tomorrow, or we could maybe see it. So
I love
what do you,
JD dropping that Federal Reserve knowledge.
I know. And it's just like, yeah, I think I saw somebody put in the chat there that, hey, it's not conspiracy fact time yet. But yeah, it's just, it's always interesting, the questions that, the way people answer the questions. So Amanda, what do you think we're in? I'm going to ask you the questions, just like you're on Peeps on the Street sort of live. Do you think we're in end times?
I think we're at the end of one age and the beginning of another. And so we're going to live in turmoils for probably another good 5-7 years. And we need to be prepared for, with both like food and medicine and having our networks in place, everything that's important to us.
And then obviously you are a prepper, but how many other, you got a little club down there. Do you guys go around with other boats, or are you guys just pretty much on our own?
Sailboaters specifically, they're always talking about these issues. Just, what kind of fan did you install? What engine do you use? Where'd you get your fuel? They're always talking about these issues.
Yeah, so I always know boat people are a different kind of people. As we used to go to a houseboat down in Monroe, and everybody was smiling. It just is, it's a whole different vibe. So, and I actually have a friend of mine. She lives on a boat out in Seattle, big sail, just pretty much like you. Her and her husband lives out there in Seattle. I don't know if they go a whole lot of places, but they're living on the boat. So I don't know if there's anything to do with prepping other than they just enjoy it. I'm going to go down the panel here and see, Ed, what do you think about, we're just going to do the end of times question. What do you think about the end of times?
But I like the guy that separated them out in the two, whether we're in end times of the world or end times of, our political system, in which I think I'm more on board with him of the world, maybe not so much, but the political system. I definitely see turbulence ahead, and I would say it played a big part. And one, I've traveled the world on a boat bigger than a sailboat, but there was a draw there for me. But also being able to go out and do that again, the freedom of being on your own and being your own government of one. That definitely an appeal.
There's something about the sea. Go ahead.
Were you on a destroyer, Ed?
I was on a frigate, an FFG.
Oh, okay.
I think Ed said frigate off a lot too when he was on there. So he just loves saying what frigate. Okay. All right. Tiffany,
and by the way, I just want to throw out, when everybody talks about what's their number one thing, storage for me is always number one, because it does not take much for some water to penetrate and make clothes moldy, mildewy. For mice to get into places you don't want to, and there's nothing worse than thinking you have food stored and realizing that you're in the middle of a trip and you don't have it. So storage to me was always number one. How are we going to store this?
Wow, I thought Lucy was going to be the professional prepper here, but Ed, you got some rabbits up your sleeve here on this one. So Tiffany, do you think we're in the end of the times?
I too like the way the person said. I think things are definitely getting ready to change. I think in our American society, we've seen the impacts of freedom, and everybody has a voice and an idea and rights. And oftentimes when there's that much freedom and liberty, we clash. And I think we're going through this iteration where really America was an experiment, and what are we, like 200 plus years old, and we're still growing and changing, I guess, compared to other civilizations. We're maybe in puberty, and puberty is not always pretty for a lot of people. So we'll see how we come out.
On my face. All right, nuclear Lucy. What? Wait, I don't think you don't even need to talk. Your picture says it all.
It does. And actually, there's some people that believe that some nukes might fly soon. And, of course, I'm a child of the 80s, so I'm totally prepared for the useless act of getting underneath my desk and covering my hands.
I'm a child of the 60s, and we did that too then. So
yeah, you did that too. So, I'm going to come down squarely on the side of, yes, I think this is the end times, like totally in line with the Bible, 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Like the one that's famine is actually Bill Gates, since he's the one buying up all the farmland and he wants us to, eat bugs. But, I think that, it was very reasonable to ask that question. Is it end times, for the end of an era? And I think the answer to that is all of the above. But I'm gonna reserve the rest of my thoughts for the conspiracy theory portion of the show
Oh
because
boy.
I think you'll be interested in what I have to say.
She's actually prepped for this show. That's
Oh
a
yes,
show prepped for a prepping show. So that's
but
good.
I have another question for Amanda, which is
Okay.
van life. Van life, living in a van, living in a school bus is so insanely popular. How do you see the sailboat as being, pros and cons? Because people are getting ready. Hey, should I drop 40,
Yeah.
50, or $100,000 on this Mercedes van that's, 82 square feet versus maybe how much does a boat cost and is it superior to a van?
So we bought a classic boat. It's a 1983 Bruce Roberts Ketch, meaning it's got 2 masts. And so we and the previous owner actually took good care of it. So we only pay $26,000 for ours, and that's actually really difficult to find for a boat that's in reasonably good condition.
Yeah.
So yeah, most people are paying at least double that. We lucked out, and it just ticked all the boxes of exactly what we wanted. And so but van life, I have some friends doing it, and their lifestyle is actually cheaper than ours.
Wow.
But they don't have like the water capacity that we have, and they don't have like the storage for food that we have, and things like that. But they need less batteries. They can get like a tiny little mini split as an AC, whereas we need something that pumps in seawater, and so we need more power for that. So there are differences. Like, we cost a little bit more, but we can go more places.
Could you survive without gasoline? Because of course, once the gasoline hits unavailable,
yeah, we are setting ourselves up for multiple ways to get power. So right now we have an extra alternator on our battery, and that can charge our batteries, and it will run our water maker once we install that. And then we also have a generator that runs off of gasoline. And then the engine runs off of diesel. And then we are going to start with 2 solar panels, and then we'll expand from there, and 1 wind turbine, and we'll put it on the mizzen mast. So we'll have multiple ways to get energy.
Back up.
Yep.
But what about fresh food?
That's an issue.
Catch some fish. You're going to catch fish, right?
Yeah.
But you still need greens in your diet, like microgreens or one of those veggie towers. Would that work?
A good case of scurvy won't slow you down. And rickets. I always want to have bow legs.
So as an herbalist, I do have tons and tons and tons of herbs on the boat, just in all different forms. And then I do grow a little bit, but I can't grow a lot with this setup, just the way that it is. So, but the little bit that I do have does help.
Yeah, my water maker runs on beer, so I just want to throw that in there.
So I'd like to throw in one thing too, as far as we have this idea that once you leave the United States, you're in this vast nothingness. And one of the most amazing things, especially going through the Pacific, was all of the varieties of fruits and vegetables and stuff that you can get. And understanding that in a lot of these cultures, they actually eat a lot more than that than we do. So being able to pull into some of these places and have access to stuff that we don't even have access to here, that is one of those amazing things I'm looking forward to. And I'm assuming you're the same way.
Yeah, I'm actually able to forage here right where I'm at, even as populated as it is. So I am looking forward to being in more remote places and learning how to forage in those places.
Yeah, you eat one wrong thing, and it's going to be you're going to use a lot of water in that bathroom and everything. So speaking of it, we got some questions that were up here. Here's one for you. This is from Robert. He asked, how do you protect yourself? And then Slick Witty was like, any fighting with Somali pirates. So, I mean, is that a concern? Is that something that, you think about, hey, somebody could come try to steal us, or the pirates or whatever. So you guys got like a cannon mounted off the back?
So there are multiple ways a boater can protect themselves. Number one, like the best one is to get information before you get anywhere. And so boats have a website called Noon Site that they can go to, and they will tell you the safest place to sail into a country so that you do avoid pirates, and they tell you how far off the coast the pirates are located. And then, of course, now I'm not going to say exactly what we do, but I'll tell you what the average boater does. And so they have if you ever seen Star Wars, the Millennium Falcon had lots of hiding spots for weapons. So that's what a lot of boaters do, because you can be boarded at any time by the Coast Guard or other countries' equivalent of the Coast Guard, and not all countries are like guns. So that's what other boaters do. And then there's the first person to travel around the world, and I'm forgetting his name. He ran into pirates, and so what he did is he threw thumbtacks all over the top of his boat and then locked it. And so the pirates couldn't come on because they were stepping all over these thumbtacks, and it was dark.
That certainly wasn't Magellan. That wasn't Magellan. I don't think they had thumbtacks back then.
Low tech, baby.
So you're talking about didn't Richard
Amerigo
Branson have
Vespucci.
Didn't Richard Branson go around the world in a sailboat or something like that? Of course, this is probably,
hot air balloon. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
That's really prepping. You get in a hot air balloon and go around there. That's good. So, wow, this show's turning out way better than I thought it would. We have a good guest. Always with a good guest, and we got the panel. The panel can only carry so much, but this is a good guest. So, hey, let's go to the Mark Small. Let's play that one, and we'll get a little biblical here. We'll go to church on this one. So keep in mind, Mark Small, he is atheist, and he gets a little angry about a couple things here. But hey, I'll just let you be the judge of that. So here we go, Mark Small and Small Talk.
Hi, I'm Mark Small. This is Small Talk for July 19th, 2022. The last book of the Bible, the New Testament, is Revelation. Some people base their belief about what will happen to the world on that book. It's rather short. It has some rather glaring images that are given. Chuck Manson based his philosophy in part on that. He said there's going to be an end of time. He came up with these wild theories that involved the Beatles. But Revelation talks about the destruction of the earth in a positive way, as though it's what's supposed to happen. There are people who advocate a belief in Christianity, and they view others with a different belief in Christianity as not true Christians, who think that the world's going to end. It's going to end in our generation. It's going to end the way it's kind of described in Revelation. Those are the same people who are wanting to take over the government right now, the right-wing evangelicals who say that they're discriminated against, but they sure want all the power that they can grab. And that's scary. Because think about it. If they believe in the total annihilation of the earth, then we give them power that includes nuclear weapons. That can't be good for the rest of us. And realize this too. A lot of them say, well, that's not my belief. That's God. Or you say, well, you have a right to religious belief, but that's kind of imposing upon other people's beliefs. Oh, they can believe in a religion if they want. I believe in God. As though their belief is on a higher plane, as they destroy the earth, as they set about to discriminate against people in so many different ways. Now, Revelation is not viewed universally by people who are scholars of the Bible, who are very fervent believers in Christianity. It's not viewed by them as being anything like a blueprint for the end of times. The New Testament basically was chosen by committee. And so when you come up with this as some people view it as having been a coded message between people trying to get around discrimination during the early days of the Christian church, well, then it kind of says, okay, it's not really what people say it says. What are you going to do? If you're going to advance a belief that inherently is going to lead to the destruction of the earth, because that's what it says, and you say, well, it's not me, it's God, it's greater than me, and we've got to do this, then prove God exists. Prove it. Otherwise, people can exist in harmony with different beliefs. Your belief, though, just ran out of time when you start wanting to destroy the rest of the planet. We actually see a future. You don't. This is Small Talk, July 19th, 2022. Peace, love, happiness, nanu, nana. May the force be with you. Take care.
Yeah, so Mark got a little animated there on that one. But hey, as I said at the start, we appreciate everyone's opinion, and we respect it. So may not agree, may disagree.
Level of passion is directly correlate it to the height in his hair and the absence of the cat.
The cat,
cat.
Dorn wants to ban Lucy from the show and wants to see the cat on Small Talk. So I will have a talk with Mark about having the cats out there because people are starting to wonder. So Amanda, to bring you up to speed and our viewers that haven't seen the cat, but Mark had 2 cats that were like 20 something years old that passed away, and he replaced them with 3 new kittens. And when we first had him on the show, they were jumping on the screen, they were all over the place. So I don't know if he's prepped and those guys were next in line, but I think we really need to demand to see the cats on the next Small Talk. So
well, it's not just that, but it's also the cats disappeared and Mark's hair has gotten bigger. So
yeah, he's like that Back to the Future hair.
The rants are going up exponentially too. It's the hair, the rant.
Well, I'm going to tell on him. His air conditioner is out, so I'm sure that it was like 90 something here today. So I'm sure that had something. He is hot and irritable. But anyway, let's talk about that little Revelation book. We got a few minutes here to burn. I'll go first. I'll say, the Revelation book's hard to read, but it does talk about in the good book. It talks about the city by the sea, that the other countries will pick on that city, and that a lot of people say, well, that's New York, that's America. These other countries will be picking till they pick us, clean. So there's a lot of stuff in there. There's like some seven-eyed monster, all these different things. It's tough to follow, but there's some stuff in there you can sort of say, well, that seems familiar. But so Amanda, are you a biblical scholar, or you have an opinion on the Revelations, or you just like, ooh?
So I think part of why it's so difficult to understand is most of it's allegory, and most people who study Revelations don't also study how people lived 2,000 years ago and how they thought about all these different allegorical sayings that we no longer use. And so, and it could be what was said in the Bible is already passed, or maybe it's still coming up. I really don't know. I consider myself highly spiritual, and I have a connection to God, and I listen as best I can, but I don't pretend to know everything about the Bible.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's it even says in a couple of those New Testament books, even though, no one knows the time or the day, that's right out of Jesus's mouth, in a couple of the passages with the disciples. And, the disciples even thought that they were going to see Jesus in their lifetime. So, if they're their firsthand knowledge, they're confused. It's, we can't figure it out. But my theory is that it talks about 2 millennials. And I remember Y2K. It was like, the end of the world and all that. And then we had the Mayan calendar on 2012. And my theory on that was they just ran out of ink because they used it for tattoos. But if you think about it, Jesus died around, some say 30, some say 33, whatever. So I'm thinking it's 2,000 years after he died on the cross. So there you go. So my prediction is we got about 10 more good years, and it's nice knowing you, everybody. So anyway. Anybody else want to jump in? Lucy, I know you got something for that gobbledygook I just said.
Well, at first when you said 2 millennials, I thought you were going to name like 2 Instagram influencers who were going to straighten us out on the issue. Instead of 2 millennials.
Well, they're smarter than everybody.
Going there too.
Yeah, what would I do without my children who know more than I do, even though they lack my life experience? I'm gonna come down on the side. I'm gonna come down on the side of biblical devastation, right? And the thing that I like about what you said, Amanda, about the allegory is that every epic, every generation can find some way to figure out, what are the 7 heads and the 10 horns?
Yep.
We're all going to shove the prophecies into our personal beliefs, and it's going to be relevant to just about every society. So I think that's the cool thing about it. We're probably not the end times. Like, for all we know, it could be all made up. Like Mark said, prove there is a God. Well, prove there isn't a God. We can do that all night, right?
Yeah, it sort of takes away the free will. when with the proof, it becomes fact, and then they'll be on our fact at the end of our show. Maybe that's what I
kind of suspect, like what Elon Musk says and some other people says, is that we're just a giant Sims game. That we are projecting our avatars and personalities into a digital play space, and I think that explains the law of attraction. Like some people figure out how to project the physical things that they want to materially manifest, right? So if I'm really back in heaven and I'm projecting myself down into this avatar, I'd really like to figure out how to like materialize a 1,000 ounces of gold or something. Maybe somebody, you guys will figure that out and then let me know the secret.
Yeah. Well, you can say this: heaven's, just think when we get up to heaven, they say you can go back anytime and nobody comes back. And then I'd hate to see that argument with God and Jesus. Hey, dude, you got to go back for a few days. It's like, I don't want to go. Or maybe Lazarus or some of those stories. But yeah, it's funny. We live in a matrix. This is, we got Dorn saying that, and then Chris Moore right together saying we live in a matrix of things, and the Hindus believe in reincarnation, and there's all sorts of stuff out there. And there's actually several different Messiah stories. There's actually a really ancient African story about a Messiah coming and doing a lot of the stuff that Jesus did. It's just, it's so there's a lot of room for doubt, and there's a lot of room for faith. And Amanda, I heard you say you're a spiritual person. I think anybody that believes in that, I mean, there's certain things that happen in my life that you could say, I think the atheist believes in coincidence, and some Christians believe in luck, but a real believer believes in the real deal, the spirit, and that you're living it. So it's to each his own. Go ahead, Ed.
I would say I consider myself a spiritual person. We talked about it, the Catholic-ish part that I joke about.
Catholic-ish.
I had the opportunity when I was in the Navy to actually sail over where the USS Indianapolis went down. We were able to put down a wreath there. I don't know, Amanda's got some wonderful journeys ahead, but I don't know that other than like being out in the middle of the ocean. I've been out there before with, even though you're on a large warship, you get under some 22, 23 foot seas. And I don't care, you're out there, nature could do anything. And there's something about looking in every direction and knowing that you are, 7 to 14 days from land in any direction. And there is nobody coming out to help you. That you are out there on their own.
That's right.
And it's hard not to be spiritual in that moment and understand that, like, hey, one, I'm fighting for myself out here, and I'm making it. I don't need anybody else. I'm doing my own thing, but also looking up and having that spiritual belief that it's gonna be all right. We're gonna make it through this, and so I just wanted to chip that in.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, well, they say there's no atheist in a foxhole, so that's just a saying that they've had around for a while. It's like if you watch Private Ryan, you'd see just how happenstance, or some people make it, some people don't. And I often feel you hear these guys in war where they were one of the 2 or 3 survivors and their whole crew got killed, and you just think, wow, who was really the survivor in that? Who was really the lucky guy, so to speak? It's like these other guys are gone on to the next thing. They don't have to deal with this world. They know the answer. Death, where is my sting? Where is thy sting? They know the answer. So I didn't know we were going to get this deep on this show. I thought we were just going to talk about prepping and whatnot, but hey, here we are. So let's see. We have, we're getting pretty close to the end. We have, Amanda, I don't know if Lucy warned you about our conspiracy theory that we have, where we put on 10 point. Do you have a conspiracy theory that you could throw in?
Love conspiracy theories. I mean, I don't believe in all of them, but I love talking about them.
Oh yeah, we do. You're the best guest we've had on all week. You are like our kind of people. Lucy, you're gonna get a raise in your paycheck, double your pay for this week. It's just unbelievable. Okay, well, hey, let's get to it. We're gonna go to the conspiracy theory. Hold on, first a second. I'm gonna do a shameless plug for my wife's show. This is actually a pretty good show here that she's got coming up. And this is, she's going to interview tomorrow night. She's interviewed the lady that came up with baby boxes. I know. You guys are going to want to watch this. It's going to be on Do Something Indie State channel tomorrow on Facebook and YouTube and I think Twitter. But I'll just go ahead and play the clip, and you can watch if you want to. But I think you're going to after I play this clip. So here you go.
But I'll tell you, the more babies that we save in these boxes, every time a child comes through our box and onto the other side where firefighters are waiting, for these infants, it doesn't get old knowing that my life was saved so that today I may save others.
That's nice.
So yeah, now you want to
That
tune in to
was
hear the rest of
cool.
this lady's story. It's going to be
Yeah,
cool. So
that is
yeah, I
really
almost feel
cool.
like maybe we should do the conspiracy theory now, but it's a good interview. You can get on there, and then me and Lisa come on at the end and talk. It's just another show we're doing, and the Chateau de Mars Hill Network. We're really large and in charge. So, well, let's get back to the goofiness of what this show is. And we didn't warn you about this, Amanda, but hey, sorry. Here you go.
Hey, y'all, it's time for the conspiracy theory, so you better get your tinfoil hat out and let's see what's going on this week.
I played the wrong one. I got the new logo behind. Oh, you like that? I got the teeth right here. Those aren't my real teeth, by the way. They're fake. Okay. Yeah, so one quick story about that. When me and Lisa started dating, her daughters were over at the house, and I had those teeth, and I walked by, and she had some of her friends there, and I just had those teeth, and I just started talking to them, and they were like, Lisa, that guy, there's something wrong with that guy's teeth. So, yeah, I have a little fun with those. But so this is the conspiracy theory. This is where we come up with it. And I got I got a deep one. I got actually a real deep one this week. But Ed, is that a cup on your head? What do you got there?
Hey, man, I was at work. I had to go with the lunch Tupper bowl look, or Tupperware look.
Hopefully you wash it out first so you got the skitty on your head. So,
yeah, I'm gonna have to take a shower when I get home. But
yeah.
All for the show.
Yeah, anything for the show. It's that's what we love about you. Ed. It's like you're in your car in the parking lot at Lowe's and you're doing this thing. So guess what? You get to go first.
Okay. So this week, in the spirit of this show, I believe it's on Amazon Prime. If you get a chance, go watch Chasing Bubbles. It's a story about a guy who dropped everything. He was a trader in Chicago, dropped everything, traveled the world on a sailboat, had no experience. And again, if we're going to talk about faith, just putting that faith in yourself to be able to go out there and do that. It's an amazing story. Watch it. My conspiracy theory, and I'm praying for Amanda to stay safe here. I will never forget, we used to get reports basically from around the world, the different stuff that was going on in the oceans, people that to watch out. One of the most amazing thing is on my first deployment, there was a sailboat that got hit by blue ice in the middle. I believe it was off of Indonesia somewhere. And their Coast Guard had to go out and save this guy because if you don't know, blue ice is basically from an airplane. It's the feces and everything else that gets shot out. And
I thought it was something you put in a margarita.
No, and it acted almost as a bomb because it came from 30,000 feet and went right through this guy's sailboat, and which would have been really bad, but insurance covered it. They saved the guy. They bought him a new sailboat. He got out there, and in 1996, got hit with the second one. That guy, I would say, if you ever run across the guy with the blue ice boat, stay as far away from him as you can, Amanda, because that guy has no luck whatsoever. But yeah, other than that, I hope you have safe sailing.
Thank you.
Ed's turned this into conspiracy advice now. All of a sudden, it's like advice from Ed, the sailing. Popeye the Sailor Man. All that. All right, Lucy, what do you got up there? Nuclear? Lucy.
Well, Amanda, you should know that mine are always conspirafacts. It is like maybe 1 out of 50 episodes that I've been on, it has not been factually based. So in that spirit with the end times, I would like to let you all know that there are actually government-owned patents for extremely low frequency and electromagnetic frequencies, where developed by the U.S. government, they can actually put voices inside your head. So you could be hearing the voice of God, you could be hearing the voice of the devil, you could be hearing, random voices, and those things are actually patented, so you can look those up. There's a gal on LinkedIn that I follow. Her name is Solea Mavis Liu, and she is the sponsor and activist of Peace Pink. It's a worldwide campaign to stop the abuse and torture that comes with mind control technologies. So this is a real thing. So when I think about the end times, I'm thinking that it doesn't really matter whether we think it's the end times or not, because it's possible to broadcast these extremely low frequencies on a narrow band. They did this in Times Square, New York, a few years ago. They had a paranormal type show. And so they were broadcasting from like the big sign that they do that's lit up, and it was very narrow. So you might hear something say, "We're here. You don't belong here." And your person next to you wouldn't hear it because they were sending them out in very narrow frequencies. It was a really freaky kind of experiment. In addition, we have something called Project Bluebeam. So one thing, some of the spiritual background is, I've always thought, okay, well, if Jesus comes back, we'll know for sure because, he's going to be up in the sky. He's going to appear to everybody at the same time. But unfortunately, with Project Bluebeam, those kind of events can be created literally out of thin air. And so it's going to be really important to be spiritually discerning. That's all I got to say about that. It's all conspiracy fact.
Wow, that's incredible. Amanda, you're going after that because I can't do it, and I'm pretty sure Tiffany can't do it either. No offense, Tiffany, but we'll let our guests try to beat that one. So
I'm a super nerd, but I'm gonna go off of what you guys were saying. I had a friend asking me about 5G, and I couldn't remember where I had read a certain fact. So I went to go look for it. And I usually use like a Koshia or something, search engine, or Tor. You can't really trust the other ones. And I dug up one where they did these experiments on these rats, and they injected, it was a type of metal, and now I'm forgetting what it is. I wasn't prepared for this.
Graphene oxide?
Yes, that was it. And so what they did with it was they put the rats in a maze, and they turned these magnets on and off. And using the magnets, they were able to make the mice either really happy to where they were running around, being mice and eating and socializing. And then when they turned the magnets off, the mice became very depressed. They stopped eating. They stopped wanting to be near each other. And I thought that was really freaky because you could control a lot of things by controlling emotions.
Wow. I got a 5G tower right out here. I've been feeling a little blue lately. I think there's something to that. So Tiffany, what do you, all the good people have gone. Now it's me and you. I'm going to have a pretty lame one too. So.
Well, you skipped me when we were talking about Revelation. So.
No, wait.
You didn't realize you were going to come back to me on this one. So you know what? I'm going to. And I'm picking off my flower.
Yeah. She's like on conspiracy strike now. So we got conspiracy advice, conspiracy fact, and conspiracy strike. We don't even have conspiracy theory anymore. It's just thanks for bailing us out, Amanda, and playing the rules here on this one.
She is spending out those low frequency. Die, John, die.
Yeah. She does have a love-hate relationship with me. She loves to hate me.
Yeah. And Dorn, I'm waving at you. Pick a finger, Dorn.
Well, look, here we go. Dorn says fire her. Yeah, right. I'm gonna give your pay, Tiffany, to Lucy for getting such a good guess. So there you go. Look at that.
Yeah. But going back to Revelations, I liked what Spiro wrote in the comments. You don't know when it's coming, so just live a good life and be ready. So that's really pretty much.
It does say it'll be a sad time when there's dancing and singing, and don't be pregnant and don't have little kids, blah blah blah. So we'll just be going on our merry way. So, and if anything, people might go out and read the Bible to see who is telling the truth on this show. So hey, my conspiracy, I just thought of it, and it happened, because something happened this week. So I'm thinking that, there's these gun control people out there, and they are planning these shootings right one after another so that everybody will get so mad that they'll have to get your guns. I know that.
I think you've realmed into conspirafact.
Wait a minute.
What?
If we allow your conspiracy theory, so was the shooter in Greenwood, was he supposed to get shot, or was he supposed to continue his rampage?
I don't think they planned on that. I mean, that's sort of interesting. But if anybody knows, you go south of Washington, you go south of Indianapolis down in southern Indiana, pretty much everybody's got some heat. So, if you're going to go doing something silly, don't do it
In
down that
fact,
way.
now would be a great time as a show to express gratitude to Eli Dicken, who was the shooter, or who was the Good Samaritan. So, Amanda, just in case you weren't aware, Greenwood Mall, which I've gone to so many times, I used to work right across the street from there. We had an active shooter event, 20-year-old young man. I won't name him because he doesn't deserve to be named. Towards the end of the day on Sunday, he goes into the bathroom. An hour and 2 minutes later, he comes out. And the first person that he shoots is a 30-year-old man who was walking towards the bathroom. And then he shot a couple, so a husband and a wife. He shot a 22-year-old woman in the leg. And then there was some shrapnel that ricocheted into the back of a 12-year-old girl. But most notable was the fact that on the opposite side of the food court, because he emerged from the food court bathrooms, there was a very brave young man named Eli Dicken, and he happened to be carrying his firearm that day. He's going into the big city from Seymour, same place that John Cougar Mellencamp is from. And he was about 30 yards, about 90 feet away from the opening to the bathroom where the shooter was. When they analyzed the footage, there were two things that were interesting. One is that the bad shooter got 24 rounds off. So he was intent on really creating a lot of death that day. He had over another 100 rounds in reserve. So we know that he was planning on some carnage. When that happened, I've just got to imagine Eli's head was on a swivel. He acted quickly. It was about 13 seconds from the time that the shooter engaged and from the time that Eli took him down. Eli had reportedly 10 bullets that he released from his gun, and 8 of them hit the shooter. So if you can imagine the amazing stress that young man must have been under, and to be able to be prepared to act quickly, to make the decision, to figure out who the shooter was, and to take him out in 13 seconds, I can't even imagine if the bad shooter, if he had been allowed to go longer. I mean, he already killed 3 people in the space of 13 seconds and injured 2 others.
Yeah,
Sounds
and I think that go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that it sounds like that man had training to be able to react so quickly.
Well,
he was only 22.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And the thing was, this was he was carrying because of constitutional carry that just passed in our state on July 1st. So,
Yeah,
it is sad that we have people die, and automatically people go to the propaganda issue of no guns, this guns. They had a sign up saying no guns, and I just, let's take a second to, just say a little moment of silence for the folks that even the shooter that perished. It's like, hey, this is we're almost getting numb to this stuff. And in Indiana, we don't have this in Indiana. We don't really have this type of stuff. And this one's
We don't. Wait, what happened over at Amazon?
Well, yeah, that's right by my house. But
what happened in
I guess we do.
What happened
before
in
that was school shooter. That's 3. But like I said, before that, we didn't really have
them. But we don't really have them.
Well, not compared to everybody else.
A place of work and a school, but we don't have them.
We don't. I mean, I think we don't have it. I mean, I live in Mars Hill, so it's like gunshots all the time. But anyway, they're not usually at anybody. Terrible aim here. So yeah, I don't know. It's see, you could almost fold that into end times where people are just losing their minds and all that. So maybe we'll do something about guns next week. Oh yeah, we'll do that. Maybe we get somebody on there.
To go out on a lighter note, I just wanted to thank you guys because all the closing crew just left and walked out, and everybody's walking by with Ed wearing this on his head. So I'm sure I'm gonna have some great conversations tomorrow. You'll have
a newfound respect. You will have a newfound. Don't mess with Ed. He's a little crazy. All right. Well, that'll do it for tonight. Let me get over here to the ending of this fiasco. So. Hey, Amanda, we want to thank you so much for coming on a little bit short notice, and you've been a great guest. You've made prepping show fun, so that's always important. We try to entertain and be there. So, Lucy, Amanda, can you stay on afterwards? We'd like to chat with you. Oh yeah, that's from Lucy there. So, all right. Well, we'll let's play the ending here, and we'll see y'all next week. We don't know what the topic's going to be yet, but I'm sure it'll be as fun as this topic we did here. So, everybody, peace out. We'll catch you on the other side.